Hello fellow critics, welcome back to the alley. Still bringing up stuff that happened a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. That's right, I'm worse than your ex. Remember that time you blew up Alderaan? Let it go, damn. There are a lot of characters in the Star Wars franchise, from Vader to Solo to Rats to Rel. But few are as enigmatic or easily recognizable as R2-D2 and C-3PO, the anxious Bert and the beeping Ernie of the Star Wars universe. And they are Jabba-fisted into just about every project that has stemmed from the loins of Lucas. Many see them as mostly minor characters playing mostly minor support roles, but when you break down the midichlorians, you start seeing how intrinsic they are and how integral they are to so many pieces of story. I mean, R2-D2 even carried the plans for the Death Star after all. A very easily recognizable major event. But what if I told you that one of these two was actually involved in an ongoing event to bring down the rebellion for good or for evil? Circuits blown, am I right? How could one of our robo-buddies be a tinfoil turncoat? After all these years of beeps and whistles and oh my, could there be something that we missed? Nah, it's cool. Bunch of trick questions, right? Or maybe there's a conspiracy that goes deeper than the Sarlacc pit. The Star Wars universe has always been magical, and maybe one of the only things cooler than space travel or laser swords that can deflect bullets is the Force. You know, the thing that we all use to open the automatic doors at every grocery store. Because that's how they really work. We all know that. And they get to do all sorts of fun things with it. Move things around, psychometry, see things coming like the Spidey sense, force choke their girlfriends to get them warmed up. They even get to show up and high-five each other and other living Force users from beyond the grave. Suck that, Ghostbusters. All those nifty abilities can really help you do some cool things. Or help you violently take control of the universe. Sometimes it's the least likely suspect that can slip by and cause some real harm. Can you tell me who is the creator of our anxious Bert? Do you remember? Because Owen Large Moisture Farms remembers. Alright, so the newbies are back from Google. Alexa, who made C-3PO? Thanks, love. Right. It was our sad-hating, Tusken-slaying, robo-suit daddy Darth Vader himself. He made him when he was a young sky toddler and just barely scrounged up enough pieces from Jawa pits to slap him together at the beginning of Phantom Menace. I find it curious that he maintained a similar mentality that he does from the Tridge, but it's kind of toned down a wee bit, right? He actually seems to run on logic, not the blithering fool who runs purely on emotion that he honestly shouldn't feel in the first place, right? You might make the case that he is shell-shocked from enduring the horrors of war, except they specifically say that he was mind-wiped at the end of episode 3. Not R2-D2, by the way, so technically he shouldn't remember that stuff, right? People have pointed out that they think that droids scream likely because they had their processors adjusted after being part of the droid army during the Clone Wars. But that doesn't seem to track to me, at least, because they were programmed to be that way, so why punish them? That's like outfit shaming one of Jabba's dancers for the choice of uniform. And second, it doesn't seem like all the droids are given enough AI to feel. Some of them just give simple commands back and forth. I honestly think they scream because it's an alarm system. Think about it. If you hear beep from the other room, you're gonna think, oh, popcorn is done. But if you hear a scream coming from the other room, you're gonna think, oh, something is definitely wrong. And that's because the urgency is obviously there. So that doesn't explain, to me at least, why literally the first voice we hear introducing us to this magical universe is his nattering doom-saying. No joke, one of the first few lines you even hear him say is, "We're doomed." And basically all of his lines going forward are similar, cowardly, bantha poodoo. If I understand the timeline properly, he saw far less action as an advisor between Revenge of the Sith and New Hope. In the Clone Wars, he basically underwent a lobotomy, reattachment to a different body, returned to his own body, and he seemed just fine with that. Why then is he suddenly such a wussy bot? What if I said he wasn't actually being a big baby? What if I told you it was all part of a darker stage play? A deep, long con to not just sabotage the very important mission that he knows very well R2-D2 is trying to complete, but also to demoralize the team and get them to give up for whatever reason he deems that a possibility. As if he wasn't hanging out with die-hard rebels. Also, Duty totally lies to Luke about not knowing who Leia is after literally saying this. He called her the princess and watches in the shadows like a weirdo as Leia gives R2-D2 the very important plans before playing stupid about all of it and strangely discouraging R2 from completing this mission. Probably a passenger! My ass! Let's not forget he was willing to ditch R2 on Tatooine more than once. He says, "I'm tired," before trying to lead R2 deeper into the desert where the Jawas live. Are you telling me that a droid literally meant to foster peace can't tell where other life forms are? He doesn't have 3 GPS? 3PO gets taken first, and I bet he even rats out R2-D2 in an attempt to save himself. And then, after the miraculous reuniting, he's willing to ditch him for that red droid faster than a pod racer catches fire? He only speaks up to say he's a good droid to curry favor with Luke. We know this because he immediately turns to R2, says, "You're lucky, don't screw up," and continues to insult, harass, and gaslight him into thinking that there's no mission at all. Why? Why would the shiny shuffler treat our favorite beeper like an abusive boyfriend? When remember that they were together throughout all of C-3PO's memory-wiped life. Well, let's ask some questions. Who was it that made him again? Who else was on the ship, and whose presence was he literally almost physically in when he started to contradict and discourage his allies? Who would actually profit from R2 not completing his mission? Who would be strong enough to actively click him into activation mode like a sleeper cell from a distance? That's right, I'm saying that C-3PO is secretly working for his old master. I think it's rooted deep in his complex circuitry, and he might not even be aware of it, although that doesn't exonerate him in my eyes. I haven't chosen to forgive him. I mean, look, I scooped out his innards and I've crafted them into a throw pillow to relax on. To add insult to injury, I've taken his skull, and I use it, as many Vikings do, to eat my meals out of. Psychometry in the Force, as I mentioned, is a very real and active thing. I mean, Darth Vader immediately recognizes that that's his own lightsaber in Luke's hand. So he can detect his own blade out of the possibly hundreds of lightsabers there are. And it's not even the last one he uses. He gets his cool red one that he's playing around with. I think it would be fairly easy for him to sense and recognize his old droid, start sending out signals for him to either come home, be a doom-crying echo machine, or for him to be able to follow and locate anybody who's traveling with this pedantic tracking device. Remember, Vader is more Force than human. We know he recognizes C-3PO from Cloud City when he stops him from getting incinerated by Boba the Fett, whose backpacks have jets. Yes, Boba, the Fett. I know, deep lore, right? Then, of course, there is the Cloud City memory, where he's literally weeping, remembering the droid. Memory is fallible, after all, and we have records of studying it way back in 1885 with Herman Ebbinghaus and his treatise on memory. It was simple syllable silliness, but many alliances were made going forward that were good or questionable at best. Sometimes even collecting this data in more horrible ways. Everything from hypnosis to the Mandela effect to literal sleeper cell projects. The lattermost being our topic, as the subject is often separate from the others and is usually unaware that they even exist. Which actually fits our droid story pretty well when you consider pre and post memory wipe possibly being different personalities. Odds are the memory wipe could have been intentionally faulty, leaving a droid who has deep-seated memories of an old master lying deep within. So maybe I shouldn't be mad, as memories are often as open to interpretation as the present is. Keep that in mind going forward. It'll probably help you understand people a little better. At the very least, perspective can help you forgive people, even if they're a shiny metal buttwad. Critically yours, the Fox.